You're full.
I think the problem was like making sure it doesn't taste like shit when it's going down, right? Because like the capsule can open
You
up.
have to just mix it with sugar, and then you got
Right.
other problems.
Right.
A spoonful of sugar makes the poop go down.
I know. It's crazy.
What do you think about stevia?
So the stevia, it's a non-nutritive sweetener, so it's not like aspartame or saccharin or what's the other one, sucralose.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, those have all been shown to like screw up the microbiome.
Yeah, those are really bad.
Yeah, they like change the.
By the way,
bacteria.
Diet Coke is what the president drinks 12 cans a day of.
What?
Yes. No wonder why he's making shit decisions.
12? Are you serious?
Yes.
So
New York Times story. They said that he drinks 12 cans of Diet Coke a day and watches as much as 8 hours of television a day. So he's literally like a test monkey.
Is that really true?
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's really true. See if you can find that article.
Yeah.
12 cans of Diet. There it is. Trump reportedly drinks 12 cans of Diet Coke. It looks like you're using an ad blocker.
What's the main sweetener in Diet Coke?
Aspartame, I think?
Is it aspartame?
Yeah. Trump drinks 12 Diet Cokes per day. What can that do to a person's body? And then they have a scientist on. We're fucked.
I'll tell you what it does to the microbiome. It like changes the composition so that you're getting the kind of bacteria that are really good at harvesting the glucose from like the small intestine area, and it makes people like become obese. Like that's the associative studies in people. Like that they've shown that in people, and then of course they've done causal studies in animals showing that. But stevia is interesting because I've seen positive studies with that where it seems to like improve insulin sensitivity, which is kind of weird.
It is weird.
I personally am always I'll use stevia like if I'm like let's make some hot cocoa with 100% cocoa and it just tastes like ass and like I need some stevia in here. It's like otherwise you're just doing a shot of it like whiskey
that stuff's
style.
nasty. Hot cocoa with no sugar is rough.
100% cocoa.
Yeah,
where it's cacao.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of benefits with that too. But yeah, with this, I don't really use a lot of stevia. Like my in-laws, they like to put it in their smoothies because I've gotten so used to my smoothies tasting kale that I guess, and plus I don't eat anything sweet, so I don't really need it, but they like to put it in their smoothies and, I don't know if it has any, we haven't really seen negative health consequences with the exception, I think there was one study in rats where they gave them like exceptional amounts and it like changed the hormonal profile or something. So I didn't consume any during pregnancy because I was worried about that. But
well, don't be a rat. You'd be fine.
Right.
Study.
But I think that's probably my choice. If I were to sweeten something like put it in my coffee or something, I'd put stevia.
Well, Trump is grossly overweight.
Yeah, so the microbiome. What's funny is that people taking Diet Coke are trying to like improve. They don't want the refined sugar.
Yeah.
They don't want to have the constant insulin response, and so they're drinking the Diet Coke. It's kind of ironic that it's like making them more obese by changing the gut microbiome.
Now, is it safe to drink just one can every now and again, or is it just something you should
I'm sure
totally
one
avoid?
can every now and then's okay. It's not. I mean. That's not going to like completely, not 12 cans a day or even 1 can a day. You're constantly going to start your microbiome. You're constantly going to keep shifting it towards,
Really? Even 1 can a day?
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Because it's the microbiome is,
I like the way it tastes though.
Diet Coke?
I do enjoy a Diet Coke.
I haven't had Diet Coke since like 2006.
I had one yesterday in a hotel. Cracked it open.
Really?
Enjoyed it. Yeah,
I really haven't had one since 2006.
It's cold.
Yeah. I used to drink them. When for like in college and stuff to stay awake and study for exams and all that.
But if you're taking something like that, should you take a corresponding, like some sort of a probiotic to try to combat that?
I mean, the problem with that is, the probiotics, which, by the way, there's all sorts of interesting studies that have shown effectiveness of certain probiotics that are, have a lot of, that have live bacteria and a lot of them. But, in order for the probiotics to work, you either have to constantly take them or there needs to be space in your gut for them to take residence in, right? So if you're like filling your body with all sorts of sugar or Diet Coke and all this, then where's the probiotic that you're taking in going to attach, right? So it's kind of flow through, and the flow through has benefits, but you have to keep taking it, for that to happen. And so
really a healthy diet's the way. It's not, you can't just counteract with supplementation.
A healthy diet's the way, meaning the fermentable fiber, which is what helps the commensal and good bacteria basically grow and thrive. But probiotics helped me a lot. Like after I had some gut issues from stress with graduate school, and so that definitely helped me. And I take them once in a while now, but I don't take them every day like I did, when I was like trying to like heal myself. And the one I was taking, I think we've talked about, was 450 billion. It's called VSL number 3, but now there's another company called Visbiome that is like the guy who made VSL number 3 is doing this Visbiome, make the same formulation. I've tried it out as well, but it's like a little cheaper, and I don't have any affiliation with either of those companies. But there's been clinical studies with both of them showing effectiveness, and so it's certainly an interesting growing field. And there have been some clinical studies in humans where, for example, the one that's super interesting. The brain stuff, the way it's affecting the brain is interesting, and there's clinical studies. There was one recent one, I think I tweeted, where there was like 10 randomized controlled trials. They weren't really high quality, but it's a start, and it like improved measures of anxiety in people. Other studies have shown, randomized controlled trials have been a couple others showing it improves depression scores and also in cognition. So there's, again, the immune system, modulation of the immune system will affect the brain. Immune system definitely is, basically inflammatory factors and things like that can cross over to the blood-brain barrier and get in the brain and disrupt neurotransmitter production and all sorts of stuff. But also the gut-brain axis, the vagal nerve, where like you can make certain things that are like if you have certain bacteria in the gut that are making, for example, GABA, that can like stimulate the nerve in inhibitory way that like calms and does something calming to the brain part. We don't really understand all the mechanisms. It's just fascinating field that I'm like trying to follow and keep up on, but I mean, the question is, do normal healthy people need to take probiotics all the time? And I don't know the answer, but I do think that we need to eat the right foods to get our microbiome healthy and avoid things like, what's it called? Aspartame.
Yeah. Aspartame, NutraSweet. All that's the same stuff, right? That's NutraSweet's aspartame.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
The blue packet.
Yeah.
Yeah.